Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunatu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti. There are two types of knowledge you can gain in this spiritual path. One is borrowed knowledge. Another one is authentic knowledge. There are two aspects to any knowledge. And most of the time when you see a person claiming a self-proclaimed, these days we have to use the word spiritual. Original word was religious. Today we have to use a new word because we have started using a new word now. Sir, I'm not a religious person, but I'm a very spiritual person. That so-called spiritual person who we talk about, I am spiritual. Most of them live with the borrowed knowledge. Knowledge taken from the external source. Knowledge which is not processed by that person. Knowledge that is conditioned by his environment, upbringing, associations. We can see from a question a person asks, we know what all the books he has been reading. The very peculiar languaging will be there. I'm not saying you should not have that languaging, please. Okay. You will go through a particular languaging. Like typically, most of you will be using this word. Anytime, any day a person comes for a discussion, you just simply use the word. You need to build your intellect. This is Vedanta words. So the moment a person says, you have to build your intellect, we know what he has been reading. I'm not giving other examples. Okay. What is it? When you use it, it becomes a borrowed one. When it is borrowed only when it is conditioned by the particular association, particular environment, particular upbringing. A person who is conditioned by South Indian upbringing, South Indian, immediately we ask from which part, sir? South India has 4 states. Now 5 states. And then 2 union territories. So, which part, sir? No, we are talking about Tamil Nadu. Then we ask the question, sir, in Tamil Nadu what? Which part of Tamil Nadu? Because a person who is being born and brought up in Coimbatore is very different from a person who is born and brought up in Tiruvarur. Right. Tanjore is very different. Coimbatore is very different. Chennai is very different. Now, which part you are referring to, sir? You say, no, I am referring to Chennai. Like inside Karnataka also we have, no? They say, sir, they speak, good Kannada. I said, then what you people talk here in Bangalore? This Kannada is all, local. pure Kannada, you should go. With Bellary side, above Bellary, you should go. That's where you hear good Kannada. A person from North Karnataka looks very different. A person who is in the coastal Karnataka is different. The person in South Karnataka different. We'll say, sir, no, we are talking about Bangalore, sir. Okay. In Bangalore, say, no. In Bangalore, a person who is born and brought up in Basavagudi is different. This Malleshwaram, Basavagudi are all different, sir. Jayanagar is very different. Right? Sadashivnagar? Huh? Are they same? No. A person who is, this is what we call as assessment. You know, you need to make an assessment of a person. What is it that you are supposed to do? Now, this is the first elementary point you need to remember when you are assessing a person. In that assessment, you got to ask, in that, which area? What sort of, because the dynamics of that particular group is very different. So, generally there is one. Generally for all South Indians, all Kannadigas have one. All Tamilians have one. All Mallus have one. All Telugu. We call them in a different language. We used to use a different word. Gulti. Mallus different. And then the fellow says, they are Tambram. I said, no, Tambram. No. In Tamil Nadu, there is a group. You are conditioned by your immediate environment. And that conditioning is treated as your understanding, your values, your knowledge. That is what is referred to as borrowed knowledge. You live on borrowed knowledge. You may say, Iswaran, what is wrong in living with borrowed knowledge? The problem is that borrowed knowledge person will swing to the extremes so easily. Which means he is not convinced about anything. He has no conviction about anything. He has this academical knowledge. That academical excellence itself is treated as understanding. Because he is able to intellectually appreciate and understand the words of it, he assumes that is his own. Ramakrishna calls such people as crows. You guys, you know, when they walk in to have the darshana of Ramakrishna Paramahansa, he'll tell them, chase them away. They say, chase that fellow. Don't allow him inside. They say, why you are chasing him? He's a crow. What is a crow? A crow, nothing wrong with crows, okay? That particular aspect we need to understand here. That crow will be flying. It will see the temple prasad is kept. It will go and pick that prasad. As it is eating that prasad, we'll see a dead rat. From prasad to the dead rat, it will go so easily. And Ramakrishna Paramahansa calls those people as crows, he says. Why not? They swing to the extremes. A small challenge is sufficient enough. And most of us are happy with that sort of a knowledge today. That's why we have a peculiar system. We'll say, sir, world is also real. God is also real. World also is there. God also is there. So what is the advantage here? The advantage is whenever you are not able to take the heat of the world, what you do? Run to God. You run this side. And you can't stay with God also beyond a point, because the fascinations of the world will pull you. So what you do? From God, you run to the world. So whole life is going to be what for that person? And then between world and God, which is more real? The moment you say there are two realities, next question comes is, which is more real? Isn't it? That's what we ask a child, Do you like Papa or Mama? Who? It says the neighboring auntie. The moment we say, do you like dad or mom? And the child says, I like both. Next question is what for all of us? Of course, you like both, correct. But between the two, who you like the most? Same way, if we say world is also real, God is also real, then the question is, which is appearing to you as slightly more real? To this borrowed knowledge, the world will appear slightly more real than God. Isn't it? The conviction that you have on the existence of ghost vis-a-vis existence of God. You are more convinced about what? Who is more real to you? God or ghost? All my questions are, you're not asking questions so that you give answers, actually speaking. But it is better you give answer. And most of you will be thinking, sir, anyway, you are going to say your answer is wrong. Anyway, you are not going to agree with any answer that we are going to give. Right? Most of it is all rhetoric questions. It is not expected that you have to give answers, but at the same time, you will frame an answer internally to you. The fear that you get to cross, imagine you have to cross a crematorium by night. The fear that you get vis-a-vis the inspiration that you get when you walk into temple. Correct? The devotion that you feel when you go into temple vis-a-vis the fear that you get when you cross, that too in the night. I remember when this movie Exorcist or The Omen, one of the movies, Exorcist, I think. That movie was released in Chennai. And in the theater, announced, you'll be given 1,000 rupees reward. Exclusive show. But only thing is you have to watch that movie alone. They had a separate show for that. But only thing is you have to go alone. And no one went there for that. No one claimed that prize. Because it is so scary. What is so scary about it? It looks so real. Now, which is appearing more real to you? So the world is more real to you. Then what Vedanta does is we go a little further, little deeper. I've been telling you people, Vedantic study should be done in layers after layers after layers. Right? What is deeper than that? First is, you can't have world also real, God also real. The moment you say God and world, there is God, there is world also. Then immediately the question comes, little deeper than that is, which is more real? We come to the conclusion, the world is more real to us. Then we ask that question, is the whole world real to you? Is the whole world appear the same to you? In the world also, you divide again. This is the difference between borrowed knowledge and authentic knowledge. In this borrowed knowledge, you go on dividing. In authentic knowledge, you synthesize. You see the oneness. That's what he explained in this previous topic. Manifestations of Brahman. You have to see the substratum. Now, a person who says, sir, the world is more real than God, then which part of the world is looking more real to you? Then again we see that the world, when we say, we refer to two types of worlds. There are two aspects to world. The world in which I am involved, the world where I am not involved. Right? Same examination only is written. 12th board exams written by my child and my neighbor's child. Where is your involvement? Which world is real to you? Which marks, which grade is real to you? The world where you are more involved. So the world where I am involved and the world where I am not involved needs to be distinguished. This is the reasoning done by the authentic knowledge. The one who seeks this authentic knowledge probes into these things. He says, there's a world where I am involved. What we call as bondage is what? The appearance of a particular aspect of the world looking more real, more important. When I say more real, don't take it literally in the sense, sir, is it existing or not? That's not what we are asking. That's not what we are saying. What it means is, which is appearing, which is impacting more to you, which is looking high priority. What was a high priority in 2020? July. Yoga Day. What were you doing on that day? What was your priority at that time? Corona, sir. Today, what is the priority? Corona is not the priority today. Today, what is the priority? Petrol price. Corona, even if you get corona today, there is no problem. We'll say that's okay, sir. But petrol price is very bad. You know? And after another about 10 days, what are you going to do? Which will become high priority? High priority is who is the next president of India? Debate. Heating debate. Part. And it's a very interesting one to see. If these people were to have full majority, there's no problem. Very easy. Whoever they decide. If they decide tomorrow, any one of you are going to become the president, you become the president. Full stop. Now that's not the case. They are just almost there. All that they require is another just about 10,000 votes. We just need that 10,000. That's all. Rest of it is there, sir. That makes it so engaging and so entertaining, so important. After that, what is going to happen? Next cricket series will become more important. Now, 2020 is not an important one. Why? That's over, no? So, on what basis? What is appearing real to you means what is occupying your mind? What takes a priority in your life? So, the world in which you are involved appears a high priority to you. Correct? To you and me today, Russia-Ukraine war is not an issue. Correct? That's not our problem today. Who is talking about it? Huh? In the papers, you scan the paper and see how much they are talking about it. They don't talk about it. Why? That is called bondage. Wherever you feel, that is more important. Whatever you feel, it can be anything. It can be as simple as, sir, right now I want ice cream. That's all. You should have ice cream now. Whole mind gets occupied only with the thought of ice cream. Or mango. Oh, why? It is getting over now. Now, next mango season will start only April, May. You have to wait. For another 9 months, you got to wait. So what do? That is what he says. Now, what he is giving here is the next topic. What is he's going about is after you have done this preliminary analysis. What is a preliminary analysis? Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara. You have done this analysis. What is analysis? The distinction and inquiry. Investigated into what is Nitya, what is permanent, what is real, what is important, priority, and what is not of a priority. What is essential, what is non-essential, what is valuable, what is not so valuable, as what is referred to as in one word, real, unreal. Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara. So in that process, what have you done? You are probing more and more into what is Anityam, what is unreal. First thing that you need to understand is, don't worry about what is real. Right? In this Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara, you are supposed to inquire into what is unreal. Investigate and figure out what is unreal in life. Now, as you keep doing, because if you go to the scriptures and ask the question, what is real? Imagine you go to a master and ask him, sir, what is real? And they give you answer which is absolutely of any help to you. The Shastras, the Guru says, you are real. Most useless answer that is. Right? Now, what do you understand from that? You are real, he says. Why? Because you can't understand what is he speaking. He says, you are real means what? That is not what my experience is. That doesn't mean I am able to live like how reality should be. You get lost completely. What are you supposed to do then? The gurus will not allow you to probe into what is real. They'll say, focus on what is unreal. With that discrimination, he grows in understanding what is real and what is unreal. It's a question. In that question, you arrive at whatever I believed to be real doesn't stand the test of reality. Right? All that I know, all that I understand, all that I believed to be real, all that I knew, I thought this is real. Upon investigation, I have understood what this is not real. Now I have understood this is not real. And then you go and ask him what is real. You see that? There's a difference. Like a child comes and asks, is there God? What is your answer? Don't start immediately. Prajnanam Brahma, I am Atma Brahma, Brahman plus Maya becomes Ishvara, Sagunam Brahman, Nirgunam Brahman, Nirguno, Nishkriyo, Nityo, Ekam, Advayam, all that you don't start. What do you say? You want idli or not? You want dinner? Yes, there is God. Agree. Then I'll give you dinner. If you don't have dinner, if you don't agree with me, no dinner to you. This is what you do to a child. This is what you're supposed to do to a child. I'm not saying this is the finality, because a child has not done any investigation of its own. It is just simply asking. It just heard that word, God. The moment it heard the word God, it is asking, what is it? Who is that? That's about it. It's just a curiosity. Now, just because there is curiosity doesn't mean you have to catch that fellow and put him and start giving a lecture. Dismiss him. They dismiss. Now, that is not the way the gurus are dismissing you, please. You see, we don't know what to ask God and what to ask a guru. These two people, we don't know what to ask. Like few some time back, one man was telling me, this fellow says, Ishwaran, I know this one of the big, number one in Karnataka. If he decides, anything can happen. That's the power. Sort of, you can take it as, chief minister, let's say. Just an example I'm saying, okay? I know the chief minister. So if you want anything, let me know. Now, my problem is only what? I want to go to Chennai. Diwali, I want to go to my house. Celebrate Diwali with my family. I tried in this IRCTC site. I couldn't get the ticket. So I'm going to call this man and say, can you check with the chief minister? Ask him to help me to get a ticket to Chennai. Sleeper coach also is okay. You don't even know what to ask actually to, even if he comes and says, okay, what do you want? What will you ask? This is what Ramana Maharshi says. People go throng to these two. World goes to God. They go to this God, that God, any God you go. You go there to God. Knowing nothing of what to ask him. Similarly, there is another group of people who throng to this gurus. They also don't know what to ask a guru. So if you simply go and ask him, what is real? He says, he'll simply dismiss. Why? Because you have not actually understood what is the value of real God. So they simply dismiss you. Like Ram Tirtha gives a beautiful example. It's one of my favorite one. He's giving example in 1906. Example this is. In the railway station in those days, even now they do it. In those days, they used to do in a different fashion. The railway stations, these boys will come selling water. 1 glass. They'll sell water. 2 annas, 2 annas, 2 annas, 2 annas, 2 annas. Let's say 12 paise. 2 annas, 2 annas, 2 annas, 2 annas. Imagine a fellow were to catch that boy and ask him for negotiation. Hey, 1 glass of water, 2 annas. My God. It's like 2 paise saying, 2 paise for 1 glass of water. Hey, too much, man. Can you give me for 1? The moment you start negotiating the price, that boy will leave you. He will not stand. He won't even talk to you. He will leave. Why? Because he knows you are not thirsty. The fellow who is thirsty, how he will ask him? Hey, water. Fellow comes. Give me a glass. He'll take the glass first, drink it, and then ask how much. That is a man who has thirst. Right? Now, do you have the thirst for the real? Or simply you want to have an entertainment, you are calling that fellow and asking him, how much? Window shopping we do, no? Like that. A lot of people come for window shopping. So, you go simply ask, how much? How much? How much? And come back. They won't buy anything. No? he says, now when you are searching, when you're seeking God, your search has to be like what? After you have investigated and understood all that you believed, all your knowledge is borrowed, and it is banking, it is founded on the platform of unreality. That will inspire you to seek what is real. You see that? After you have understood all this is unreal, you go and seek what is real. When you move like that, because today for our eyes, the unreal looks like real. And we find it difficult to accept that it is unreal. The world looks very much real, no? Isn't it? Very difficult to do that. So what is necessary to get the understanding of what I experience now is unreal? That understanding dawns on me. The moment I get that understanding, I become a very different personality. The moment I understand that all that I am experiencing right now, all that I am believing right now, all that I am thinking to be of a priority number one in my list of priorities. First finish all this, then we can talk about all. So we have a priorities, no, in our life. That priority is what we think. The moment you understand that as not the priority, you become a different person. This is this knowledge. Without a proper investigation on the anitya vastu, gaining the knowledge of nitya vastu is what is referred as borrowed knowledge. Without understanding the world as unreal, I go and search and seek the knowledge of the real. And when you read the scriptures, it will give you the knowledge of the real. That knowledge is far more dangerous than your so-called ignorance. Remember that. It is better to live in ignorance than to live on borrowed knowledge. It is better to live as a pauper than to live as a debtor. No? So much of debts. You'll have everything, but the thought that you have so much of debts, you can't, live your life normal. There is a beggar will be able to live his life better than you, actually speaking. You may appear to be living in a big bungalow. You may be appearing to be, going in the car. But that beggar in the street is a pauper. His mental state is far more stable than your mental state. His mental state. I mean, yours in the sense what I am referring to is that human's state. But externally, everyone will appreciate. My God, this guy, look at this, this house. Seen the house? Seen the car? They drive this car, they have that house, they have this, all that they talk about. But then, what is your inner state? So, after you have investigated and understood what is unreal, that understanding of all that I know, all that I believe to be real has become unreal, then you go and search for, is there anything real at all? See that? That is the state here. Before that, if you gain this knowledge of real, it is just borrowed. That borrowed knowledge is more dangerous. So more and more, little clearer, little more clarity you get on what is unreal will intensify your search for the real. That will make you understand what? That will make you understand the unreal little deeper. Not that you will understand real, remember that. No. It will make your understanding of the unreal more deeper. From that depth, you have to read the next topic. Process of negation and assertion. Okay. All this is just a build-up. Build-up for the title. Process of negation and assertion. Because if you are not understanding the context of this topic, you start practicing it straight away. What I'm going to do, sir? World is unreal, God is real. World is unreal, God is real. You know, what is this? People keep on repeating. No? Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Jivo Brahma Ivanapara. This is Advaita Vedanta. So what is Vedanta? What is this? All that it talks about is only this. What is it now? Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. That's all. Nothing else. This Jiva is that Brahman. So what is? Brahman is that Satyam. The world is a Mithya. That's it. So what are you supposed to do now? Negate the unreal and assert the real. That's all he is going to explain now. But remember, when he says negate the unreal, you need to recognize and categorize something to be unreal first. And you should be convinced about the unreality of it. Right? Not because borrowed. That is why I'm telling you this. So this is the critical point. Then we go into what is this process of negation and assertion. Yes.
Process of negation and assertion. Brahman, the supreme reality, pervades the macrocosm and microcosm. Brahman is right within you. To locate Brahman, you need to go introvert. Seek your supreme self through the process of negation and assertion. Negate your material bodies. Assert your real self. Your present state is one of identification with the gross, subtle, and causal bodies. You have restricted your life to the experiences of these bodies and suffer from a self-imposed limitation. You need to liberate yourself from terrestrial entanglement. Your focus of interest must move from the material equipments to your essential self. Negate the conditioning bodies. Assert your unconditioned self. Suggest to yourself powerfully that you are not the gross, subtle, and causal bodies, that you are the immaculate self. The ignorance of self is the cause of creation of the world. The variety show that appears before you is a mere passing phenomenon. It is transient, perishable in contrast to eternal, imperishable Brahman. As you focus your attention upon your body, your physical personality arises. You relate to the gross objects of your senses. Just so, Focusing upon the mind, your psychological personality shows up. You then relate to feeling and emotion. And when your focus is upon the intellect, your intellectual personality predominates. You identify more with thought and idea. You must rise above the limitations of the body, mind, and intellect and attune yourself to the underlying self that enlevens them all. Concentrate, meditate upon your real self. The show of object, emotion, and thought folds back. You become established in the self. You merge with the self, Atman, Brahman. Do away with your infatuation to this phenomenal world. Shift your concentration upon the self, the supreme God. You have cast away a treasure and picked up trash. God resides in you. Realize yourself. You will then other than that is the stern reality. Prophet Muhammad declares, La ilaha illallah, there exists nothing but God. So do Christ, Krishna, and the rest of that galaxy. Vedanta roars with this truth. You innocently put more faith in the outward phenomenon than the reality that supports it. You make the world more real than God. You have hypnotized yourself to believe in the reality of the world. Your involvement in the world has caused only suffering and sorrow. You must now direct your energy and strength to the self within. Get to the eternities, the supreme God. Feel that, live that. Get lost in God as a cube of sugar in water. You will attain spiritual enlightenment, absolute peace and bliss. The metaphor of butter permeating milk explains the immanent nature of Brahman. Brahman exists everywhere, permeates every part of the world, yet remains incognizable, as butter in milk. Butter exists in milk, though not seen directly. The process of extracting butter from milk is strikingly similar to drawing the knowledge of Brahman from the world. Mix a bit of yogurt with lukewarm milk. Leave the mixture overnight. Next morning, the milk turns into yogurt. Milk is thin, fluid. Yogurt is thick, firm. Churn the yogurt with a cross ladle. Butter separates. Apply the same process to yourself. The mind is ever in a fluid state. It runs in all directions. Give yourself a little Vedantic knowledge. Allow yourself some time to react with the philosophy. The mind stabilizes, turns mature. Churn the mind by negating the outer phenomena and asserting the inner self. Thus, reflecting and meditating upon the self, you gain the knowledge of self.
This is the process of negation and assertion. You negate the unreal and assert the real. Very popularly introduced in the Upanishads, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. This idea of negation is given. Of course, it is appearing in many places. But Upanishadic one reference we have, we see that in Brihadaranyaka, and he refers that in two places. This Neti, na iti. Neti. He goes on saying Neti. What is that he says? This is what he is giving in the first line. Brihadaranyaka. What is appearing in Brihadaranyaka is what he is giving in the first line. There he gives this Neti to do in two ways. One is Samashti Prapancha and Vyashti Prapancha. That's what is referred as macrocosm and microcosm. So what is given there is what is referred here. It's just taken from there. These two ideas, of course, he is explaining it later. Starting is this Neti. The Neti is not the idea. Neti means you start by saying not this, not this, not this, not this. If you go on saying only not this, not this, not this, not this, not this, will you land up in a point of nothingness? Vedanta says no. You don't do that. Along with neti, neti, neti leads to iti. Neti, not this. Neti, neti, iti, iti, iti. Says. Now what is this? Nah? From neti to iti, iti. Neti, neti to iti, iti. Means also this, also this. So what you have to do? This is not real. Then what about that? Investigate and say what? No, that is also not real. And then finally you come to conclusion, this alone is. So you start by saying not this, not this, not this, and then not this also. So this is not. Also that is not. Then that is. What is that and this and all we have seen already. Okay. Purnamada, Purnamidam, when we studied in the introduction, we have seen that in the first topic, in the same chapter. Right. So he says this assertion needs to be done and negation has to be done. So first thing what you need to do, use your discriminative thinking and understand this is unreal, this is more unreal, this also unreal. When you, the moment you understand this is unreal, then automatically you ask the question, okay, sir, is that real then? Then what happens? Upon your investigation, you say, that is also unreal. What is that? Now, first you start your investigation from, is the world real? You say, we come to conclusion, no, the world is not real. Macrocosm. Macrocosm means the entire phenomenon of names and forms. The world of names and forms. All this is what now? Unreal. Okay. The perceived, experienced, known, the prapancha. Then what? Then am I real? Then we ask the question, okay, in you, what is real? There they do it in two forms. There this process of negation happens in two forms. One as Panchakosha Viveka. Another one is Sharira Traya Viveka. There are two ways they do it. One is dividing human personality on Panchakoshas, 5 sheets. You remember we have seen that. In human composition, we have studied all this. Right. So those who have not, or if you have forgotten, go back. Right. Panchakosha. What are they? Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. These are the 5 sheets. So what you do? The Pranamaya Kosha is more real than the Annamaya Kosha. What you do? You negate the Annamaya Kosha and assert the Pranamaya Kosha. Then what you do? Reject the Pranamaya Kosha and assert the Manomaya Kosha. Reject Manomaya Kosha and assert Vijnanamaya Kosha, intellectual seat. Reject Vijnanamaya Kosha and assert Anandamaya Kosha. Then reject that Anandamaya Kosha also and assert Brahman. This is the process of negation and assertion healings. We say, now, why this process is important? Why this negation is important? In this, both needs to be given equal importance. Remember, both are of equal importance. But then the starting has to be with this. That's what he gives the example of a butter churning. When you churn the curd, you do with clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise. You keep doing it in both sides. The pressure will be the same. There is no difference. But then the first step has to be what? First step is Neti. So we say this is not. Neti. Neti means what? Neti means not what I thought it to be. It is not what I thought it to be. That is called Neti. Neti means don't say not this, not this, not this, not in that sense. What it means is, this is not what I thought it is going to be. Sir, I thought the moment I pass my 12th standard, college life you enjoy, is what they told when I was studying my 12th. When I went to college, they said what? Just struggle for 4 years, 3 years. After that, Maja life. Get a good job, 5 years for. Just all that you have to do is what? Struggle for 5 years. This 5 years of struggle that you are going to do will help you rest of your life. You believe that. You struggle. Then you take up a job. And then what? Struggle till 60. Right? After that, enjoy. When you get 60, what happens? Grandchildren. Right? There is everything, it looks like, oh my God, it is so fantastic. But when you investigate it little further, like most of you think, those who are living in the cities think, oh, village life is superb, sir. You have no clue. You go and live there in village. Only then you will know what it is to live in village. In city, you have absolute privacy. In my flat, I've been living here for 5 years now. 5 years I'm living here. I have no clue who is opposite, who is next to me. We share the wall. Same wall we share. This side, that side. No clue. And they have no clue about me. I have no clue about them. Somebody comes to my house, goes, somebody comes to their house, goes, who cares? But you go into village, live there, there's no your life. Every house is their house. Anyone who comes to the house, anything that you have a discussion in the house is everything public only. And can you take that? The gossip that you can, if you want to learn how to gossip, go to a village and live there for 6 months. You will become an expert in gossip. Investigations. Any fellow who comes, you go into a village and ask, sir, where is this house? Why do you want to know? Who are you to him? What is his connection to you? From where you are coming? You're going to stay here visiting. I'm just asking direction to the house. Tell me no. You will not get it. So complicated. This you will understand when? After you live there for 6 months, 1 year. After 1 year only, you realize what is the actual problem. At that point, what is understanding you get? You get, this is not what I thought it to be. I thought marriage is such a fantastic one. You get married. And then, this is not what I thought it to be. That thought is there, no. That is called a Neti. Not this. Na iti. Not like this. Not like this. This is not what I believed. This is not what I thought. What is it that you have thought? That is a question. What is it that you have thought? Any transaction you have in the world, anything that you are pursuing in the world, anything that you are seeking, anything that you are now avoiding seeking, what you court and what you avoid, all that you do is done with one primary motive. Elementary level of understanding is all actions of human beings were classified into two. What is it now? Dukha nivritti, Sukha prapti. In the language of Ajagovindam, we call it as, he calls it as two things: acquisition, enjoyment. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa calls it as Kanchana, Kamini. Two. Finally, what Vedanta says is, it says it is not two man, it's only one. It's not that you want to acquire, then do. It's not two. Through this Dukha nivritti, through that security and pleasure, through that, what are you seeking? You are seeking only these two. Right? In and through all this, you are seeking only one. What is it now? Fulfillment. You wanted to get only one thing actually. You are not seeking two. So, initially you believe what? I thought I am seeking to have a better house. Correct? This is what the whole process is. The process is this. What you do, sir, I am seeking to have a house. I want to have a better house. Okay, I want to have a house. I'm not having a house now. I want to have a house. I don't have a car. I want to have a car. I'm not having a job. I want to have a job. I don't have this knowledge. I want to have this knowledge. I didn't know this. I want to know this. It can be anything. You can be seeking name, fame, power, position, status, family, relationship, respect, anything you name. All that you are seeking with this primary two motives. What is it, sir? One is to avoid the Dukha as a solution for my Dukha. Next one is seeking pleasure. You acquire a tennis court to enjoy playing tennis. You buy a car to enjoy the drive. Right. That is the idea. So there are two things there. One is what? One is acquiring, another one is enjoying. In and through that, what are you seeking? This is the next layer of, I'm just going a little more deeper now. Right. And then I leave you. Don't worry. Only one layer I'm going. That's all. Now there are layers. depends, we can keep going, more deeper and deeper we can go depending upon, our capacity. I'm just taking one step. The next step is this. What is next one is, all human beings are seeking what? All of us seek. In and through whatever we are seeking one thing. What is it now? Completeness. First, be clear about this. When you are not clear about this, you can't actually practice this negation, assertions and all that. You can't even understand what is it all about. So first you need to understand that Nitya Anitya Viveka Vichara. First part. Now the second aspect of it is more deeper than that Nitya Anitya Viveka Vichara is this. In this we understand all that. Next layer. Further, this is far more deeper than the preliminary one. So what is the clarity you have now? In and through whatever I am seeking only to achieve that Purnatvam, fulfillment, completeness. I am seeking, I can't accept any sort of incompleteness. I wanted to experience that completeness is what I am doing. And then what you have to do now, apply that idea. Not what I thought it to be. What is it? I thought if I get that name, fame, power, position, status, all that, I will be able to achieve that completeness, fulfillment. Now, whatever I believed is going to give me that completeness is not giving. This is understanding. What is the next step once you understand this? That is where the process of negation assertion comes. Up to this point, negation assertion has not started. This process is next after that. What you do now, you have the courage and conviction to reject this methods, the means, these pursuits which I believed to be giving me this fulfillment. I should have the power to reject it and go in search of another one. That is called the process of negation and assertion. So first thing what you need to do, sir, you need to understand what is unreal. Probe into what you believe to be real and understand that as unreal. And that understanding will motivate you, will inspire you to search for what is really real. Then you start inquiring into what you are pursuing. Are you pursuing the car? No. You are not asking for car. You are actually believing that money, that acquisition, name, fame, power, all that, wealth, everything, you believe it is going to give you that security. Dukha nivritti. It will give me some sort of a security. That is your belief. Based on that belief only you are pursuing. Does it give? This is vichara. On that inquiry, what is the conclusion you come to? What is the understanding you come to? Is there a connection between this and that? The feeling of security and possession of wealth. Is there a connection? We find there is no connection. Which means unconnectedly, if you are two unconnected things, irrelevant things, you are establishing a link. and moving in the direction, that means you are a superstitious personality. Like we say, a black cat crosses, business fails. Black cat is the reason for my business failure. We call that as superstition. Why? Because this and that has no connection. Similarly, what are you doing? Same thing. He is making a connection between a black cat and business loss. You are making a connection with wealth and feeling of security. What are you different? In what way you are different from that man? Once this understanding comes, you should have the courage to reject this and go in search of the means from where you are going to get that security action. Then you will say what? Sir, wealth is not going to give security, sir. Then what is going to give security? People, sir. Don't you know this management jargon? Your net worth is equal to your network. Have you not heard? Not money, sir. It is contacts. See, why do you think people go for playing golf? Game. Contacts. You get very good circle of contacts there. Why people go for conferences, conventions and conferences and all that? For what? Not on the speakers. They are not interested in what the speaker is going to say. They know if I go there, that sort of people will come. That will help me to build in few more referrals and I can grow. Contacts, sir, not all this. Then you say, think what? That. And then you say what? Nothing, sir. Vedanta class. And then fellow, fans our ego also. Sir, your class is superb, sir. What is it now? Vedanta knowledge now. You think the knowledge of Vedanta is going to give you security now. With this, I'm going to. Only difference you seek that ability in you to probe and find out this is not what I thought it is going to provide me. Negate. Now, if you go on negating without corresponding assertion, what will happen now? You will become cynical in life. That's why you find a lot of philosophers, so-called people who study philosophy, appear to be very cynical in life, very pessimistic, very negative. Because they practice only one part of it. What is it now? Not. Okay, then what? That they ignore. Now, Vedanta says you cannot do that. It says you have to do it along with this. So what are you supposed to do now? The process of negation and assertion. Negate the unreal, assert the real. We'll see you in the next class. Hari Om.